Miss Hannah has such a powerful testimony from last night. Share with us.
So, thank you, Pastor Adonica, for these conferences. Women's Conference is always my favorite conference of the year. So this conference, there's so many things you come believing for, and I hadn't really pinpointed a specific thing that I was believing for, but there was just so many things. And Thursday morning, I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was telling me what she was believing God for, and she asked me, "What are you believing for?" And I kind of thought about it, and I was like, what is the one thing that I want from this week? And I had realized that I had kind of become a Martha instead of a Mary. I just focused on serving, and I love serving. I loved everything that we do here, and but I had been more focused on serving than sitting at Jesus' feet. And so I told her, I was like, that's what I want. And then Thursday night, Pastor Janina testified about their story. They were believing for children, and God blessed her with a beautiful baby boy. And it kind of brought up some things that I had been shoving down for years. My husband and I were believing for kids for 4 years, and had a few miscarriages along the way. And, I serve a lot, so I just kind of pushed everything down, and I just kept serving. I kept working. And so during the years, it's just kind of like one negative test after the other. And so her testimony just meant so much. I felt like I was listening to my own self speak. And I realized that not only was I becoming hardened, that I was building these walls around my heart on that subject. And anytime someone would talk about, their kids, I was very happy for them. But if they talked about me having kids, it was like this wall instantly went up, and I would smile and be like, yeah, we're believing for kids. But my heart was just so hard. And I started, these thoughts started coming, well, what what we're supposed to do in ministry, I'm not supposed to have kids. Or because of my childhood, things were very difficult. Maybe I won't be such a good mom, and he's protecting my kids. And so all these thoughts come into your mind, and you have to fight them. But it was just year after year, and my heart just started steadily just getting harder and harder. And I would just serve and push through it and keep going. And so Friday morning, after listening to my friend and Pastor Janina's testimony, I was getting ready. I was supposed to serve, and so I just took 2 seconds and I said, Lord, I want something. I've decided that I want something this today. I'm not gonna leave today without it. I want to get off the floor a different person than I got up. And my friend was reminding me about when Christine shared her testimony several years ago. I don't know if she's here, but she just was radically changed, and she got off the floor, and she was like a completely different person. She's never been the same. And I said, I want that. I want my own Christine moment. And so it was a 2 seconds, just really quick. I finished getting ready, and I ran to church. And then so Friday night, I was here. I didn't have any coffee all day, so I was yawning in service. It was a really great service, but I was just very tired, and I was serving. I was working, and so I wasn't really allowing myself to get touched very much. And so Pastor Adonica, she was praying for different ladies at the end, and she said, if you're believing for children, raise your hands. And I raised my hands, but still, it was very tender because it had just been brought up that morning or the morning before. And it was very tender, and I raised my hands, but I was like, I'm working. I can't deal with this right now. I'll just raise my hands, but I'm not going to receive. I can't deal with this. I have to do my job. And so she starts praying for people, and then she gets on stage. She starts praying for the worship team, and I'm like, okay, service is winding down. I got touched a little bit. This is good. I got to serve after service, so I'm not gonna receive anymore. I'm good now. And but it was all of a sudden there's this switch, and everything in me just kind of turned around 180 degrees, and I realized, I was like, that's not what I asked for. I didn't ask for a little touch. I wanted to get off the floor a different person. I wanted my own Christine moment, and this isn't it. And so I raised my hands and I look, and she turns around and she just looks at me. And that's the last thing I remember. And she was praying for people in their seats, but I didn't ask to get off the seat a different person. I asked to get off the floor. So she grabs my arm and pulls me out, and she lays hands on me, and I was glued to the floor. I was laughing harder than I have in years. I haven't been touched like that since 2005, like the first time I got touched. And I was laughing so hard, and I had a job to do. And I was trying to get up, and the harder I tried to get up, the more I laughed. And people were starting to leave at the end of service, and I was trying to move to get out of their way, and I couldn't move. And the more I tried to get up, the more I laughed, and the more God started to do. And it's like the joy was the pain reliever. I didn't feel any pain, but he was removing everything that I had built up over the years. He was removing all the pain, all the callousness, the coldness that I had developed, and it was like he took all the things out of my hands, so I stopped serving, and he just put me on the floor, and I was at the feet of Jesus again, and I was on the floor for over an hour. I didn't get home till 1 a.m. I didn't get to bed till 2. I was just totally smashed. When I woke up this morning, I realized it wasn't just restoring my relationship with him. It wasn't just repairing my heart, but like he put this new boldness on me, and I feel like I'm a completely different person. I don't even know how to explain it, but it was exactly what I needed this week.